What's up, everybody? We're back here with the Call of Duty Challengers Cup, the first of the 2025 season, and we're continuing our coverage right now with a banger of a matchup. I'm going to keep on saying that every time we have like a remotely competitive matchup in front of us. It's going to be the upper bracket finals. It's going to be OMiT Brooklyn going head-to-head here with KC Pioneers. Now, we've seen the Pioneers a couple of times on broadcast today. We have not had a chance to see OMiT Brooklyn. I believe they got a reverse sweep over CTE in their last matchup, so they'll be coming into this one feeling pretty hot, Cash.
They will, but KC Pioneers have been on a tear today. We've followed them for a few series, and again, they're hitting form pretty well. I mean, you think of how much tenure is on that roster alone, and again, I've called it all day. Just the discipline, composure they play with. It's definitely going to be a force to reckon with. But you think of T-Fel leading the squad on the other side of things from Brooklyn. It should be, I mean, again, moderately competitive. That means it gets the banger grade as far as us casters are concerned. So it should be a fantastic series, putting all of that aside. And I'm very excited to get into this one. This is winners finals. This is going to see who punches their ticket into grand finals and who is going to have to fight through the remainder of the lower bracket to try to get their way back.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of questions that we need answering here. So let's immediately continue on then to talking about our matchup ahead of us. Of course, this is the upper bracket final. Let's talk first and foremost about how we got here. Let's do the bracket first and foremost. A little kind of reminder as to kind of where these teams in particular had to go. Now, it's worth saying, kind of already explained this when we did the bracket earlier on today, but you're kind of missing winners round one because we didn't anticipate winners round one actually being part of today's broadcast. So that's a new one for us here with this season. So you're not seeing the winners round one results, but you are seeing the prior winners semi-final results for both OMiT Brooklyn and KC Pioneers, which were versus CTE and Stallions, respectively. Two very different paths, right? I mean, for KC Pioneers, it was the relatively easy 3-0 versus Stallions. For OMiT Brooklyn, though, again, that reverse sweep versus CTE is not an easy thing to pull off.
It's definitely not, especially because of what we just saw with CTE in the lower bracket. You know that they're going to be vying and fighting for their way back. So, again, no one's had an easy route in the winners bracket, let alone the losers. This has been a grueling Sunday for Cup number one. And if this is just a taste of what we're going to get the rest of the season, again, I am beyond excited, but no one going to have an easy route here. And this winners fineup might be the most competitive of what we've seen today, given how these teams have played. And again, when you win through winners, it obviously shows that you're a team that keeps composure and is able to find a way to win no matter what. So both of these teams earning their spots here respectively, and go to show who can really get there through the winners bracket towards the grand final sides of things. Both have been tested here throughout this Tech Cup.
Yeah, for sure. So CT, of course. I mean, you guys. It's worth saying that the lower bracket right now on broadcast isn't updated. That's on me. I'll take the blame for that one. But it should be said that obviously you guys did just see CTE go 3-0 over LIJS, so they are through to the lower bracket semi-final. I don't know who is like through to face them in that losers semi-finals. I'd actually have to look at the bracket. You know what? Because we're not on screen right now, I have the virtue of doing that, and no one can call me out for it. So I can actually just go very briefly look at the bracket, because that's the beauty of working from home, Cash, is that no one needs to know. Even though I'm telling people that's what we're doing, no one needs to know that's what I'm doing. It's
Yeah,
Stallions or Criminals. I heard a voice in my head. I've been hearing those a lot lately.
I think I
So
am hearing those too.
it's crazy. It's honestly an affliction that only hurts casters, it would seem. Anyway, that's the matchup, and we'll be looking at that one, I believe, going on simultaneously with this. That being said, we are very deep into our bracket here for North America, slightly behind schedule, but excited to continue on and find out who is going to take the very first Challengers Cup of the 2025 season. With that said, then let's talk about the teams for this matchup. We have OMiT Brooklyn versus KC Pioneers, our first all-organization affair of the day on broadcast. We've seen KC Pioneers a lot earlier today, and it does feel like a lot of old guards on that team, right, Cash?
It really does. They have just so many people that are, tenured and either being close and on the cusp of breaking into the league, or players that we know to have been in the league. I mean, you think to Arcides and his impact and the rings that he has, and having played, Black Ops 4 and earning that, as well as on Atlanta FaZe at times, and Standy, what he's done for the Minnesota Rocker and Las Vegas. Legion squad and everything, and the impact he makes as a submachine gun player. Dylan Rex, a Challengers mainstay. Unfortunately, I hate calling him a Challengers mainstay, because the guy really does deserve a shot in the pro league, and he's been around for so long that you'd like to see him get that break regardless. The leadership on this team is first and foremost one of the most impressive things that they have, and as a result of that, you seldom catch them in situations where they're caught off guard or playing out of place.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I believe we're about to get into the game, folks, here. Well, I don't know. I always hype people up for the game, and then we don't actually end up getting into the game. So whether or not we do actually get into the game is a different story. We won't be able to show you guys the maps before we get into this one, but I will give you a spoiler. If you were a fan of last series, boy, you're going to love this one because it's a very similar look. And I mean, fortunately, CTE aren't this lobby, mate, because if they were, they'd be clapping like seals.
Yeah, it's a triple vault coming at you again. So map number one will kick things off on, the beloved one that we have shared over the last three maps. We have guaranteed for the next three. So we'll spend a six map journey here on this beloved one. We should all know it inside and out by the time we are through. As should these teams for how favored it is in the map pool selection. Kicking things off, OMiT Brooklyn going to have early time. Outside looking in is going to be KC Pioneers. Fellow looks to open up with a couple kills to kick things off, and being aware of where spawns are, the rest of his team can just look to soak time.
Yeah, over Brooklyn. Want to get early control of this hard point, early control of this game. They've been waiting a long time to get in towards this one, and they're already starting things relatively strong here, folks. Early control for them now. Is it a 7-8 spree between all four players? Fellow, he was on 4 in a row, is finally going to get shut down, because that's okay, though, because OMiT Brooklyn have the rest of the squad there as backstops. KC Pioneers, they're trying to fight tooth and nail to find their way through. Tyrell from up top will work with Mercules to ensure that the rest of the time does go OMiT Brooklyn's way. And, I mean, KC Pioneers didn't really get much of a look at that hard point whatsoever. And now, do they even get a look at the next one?
You talked about being from the back of this hard point can kind of be a disadvantage, so maybe KC Pioneers can't get the first look, trying to get a break from the front. Unfortunate team nade coming in. It's going to be too real on himself. Standy's going to fall there, and Neptune with the wrap around the front of the hill, going to get the break once again from OMiT Brooklyn. So they'll continue soaking this time, finding themselves a 50-point lead just through the first hill and a half of this hard point. KC Pioneers not able to get anything going, not able to get any good map positioning to give themselves an avenue in, as they are still sitting on this bottom outer palm side, trying to find their way into time for the front. A little bit of scrap remaining as well. The P3 will pop towards the north side as Johnny's able to collect a couple there, and now they get the break that they wanted. Look, they put efforts towards this top side. It shouldn't be in vain, as the rest of their team look to try to wrap around, but OMiT Brooklyn putting pressure there towards the north.
Yeah, I mean, that just wasn't a good hard point for Pioneers whatsoever, was it? I mean, they just didn't really get any control whatsoever. And once again, for the third consecutive hard point here on Vault Hardpoint, OMiT Brooklyn are the first team to touch. Mercules, big reason for this early control, wants to try and apply the pressure for the double. He will get it almost immediately. And now off the back of those gunfights here, Cash, I mean, they can flip the script. They can flip the map. They are constantly thinking ahead of KC Pioneers at this point.
Thinking ahead, slaying out of their minds to open this up, and always on the right side of, again, like you said, the timings and the plays going on around the map. It's just, for what we've seen of KC Pioneers and how strong they've played, and pretty much all the gas I gave them going into the series. Again, this is my first time with eyes on OMiT Brooklyn for the day. Everything they are doing, Neptune on a 6 spree now, is right around this hard point. Whatever they want, they're imposing their will, and KC Pioneers have yet to find an answer. Already out to a 60-point lead, nearly going to eclipse the 100-point mark as we look to rotate to P4. You need to see some semblance, some kind of life out of this KC Pioneers team, and they can't afford to give this up as a money hill.
OMiT Brooklyn, 70-point advantage and continuing to grow. I mean, how many times are we going to see here OMiT Brooklyn with a massive advantage in terms of rotations over KC Pioneers? And for Pioneers, at the very least, they don't have to deal with anybody towards those back spawns just yet. They can be relatively disruptive because nobody's in the opposite building here. So, an opportunity for KC Pioneers to get in behind enemy lines. But Two Rose managed to just dip the hell straight back in towards the hard point and help out Mercules. How much more can Two Real actually get? Well, doesn't really need to be honest. Mercules is up top. KC Pioneers will be in for this time, but I mean, OMiT Brooklyn, they've still got presence around. I will say Mercules losing his teammates in and around this hard point is probably not beneficial. Mercules now on 5 in a row, though, looking for more. And he's just isolated up top. He is so done here in this situation. I mean, he plays his life well enough there, but not really to that much of effect.
Not enough to make something happen, but like you said, does get out with his life, does get out with his streak as well, which may be the more important thing to focus on as we look to get back the start of our rotation, P1 underway. And again, a pain point specifically for the Pioneers, as they only accrued 2 to 4 seconds off of this initially. OMiT Brooklyn know exactly where they want to influence these spawns, where they want KC Pioneers to come from, and you can just tell the players playing around that information as well. You're going to get a little bit of a break a little bit of breathing room here, a moment to start to garner time, but Neptune from the top rope gonna strike, and he's gonna find all three. One player left standing, gonna dip dodge and get the hell out of there. Does not want to deal with the gunny of Neptune right now as he looks to wrap through the back, but quickly gonna be taken down by Mercules. As much as KC Pioneers had breathing room, all the life has been sucked out of him here.
Yeah, Casey Pioneers. I mean, they have moments, right? I think towards the end of the set there, it was really the first moment where I felt like I've seen any life in Casey Pioneers whatsoever. Beyond that, though, the entire story of this hardpoint thus far has been OMiT Brooklyn. And once again, the likes of Mercules, that young gun that we were talking about previously, and Neptune returning to the Call of Duty scene for the first time in forever, at least for what feels like any real effect. They have been stomping through KC Pioneers. They're now got control of the Fountain hardpoint as well. And we have those discussions about how potent these backspawns can be. Well, OMiT Brooklyn, they're holding onto this hardpoint through that for the moment, but as I say, Arstes will pick up a couple of kills, and now KC Pioneers can fight this one from the front. An opportunity for some real time.
They look to take advantage of the situation. Kill feed still swinging their way, though a couple get traded out. Everyone off to a quiet and sort of slow start here for KC Pioneers. And again, it's not too late in the game to turn it around now. Having closed the deficit to about 70, 80 points, but as they look to give up well over 15, 20 seconds of time, trying to find any kind of coordination to figure out where they want to go next. It just seems like they're isolating gunfights, giving them to OMiT Brooklyn around the map, and you have one player towards P3, and as the spawns come in on the right-hand side, sure, you have maybe timing to be able to get yourself set up, but a lot of pressure now goes to Dylan Rex to win these gunfights, to keep the south side of the lane safe. Player 1 and 2 Real going to spawn up, and Art, that's going to play spoiler on this whole push.
I mean, how did KC Pioneers even come back into this now? I mean, it's so difficult. You're down by almost 100 points, and I think that lead is about to grow even more here as OMiT Brooklyn have control of the hill. KC Pioneers trying to fight this one, fighting desperately, doggedly to get back into this game. A couple of kills do come through between Standy and Rex. So KC Pioneers an opportunity to try and steal away some time. It's worth saying they did also break on the next hill on the last set of rotations as well. And with those 3 kills now starting to come through from KC Pioneers, now make it 4. Johnny's going to double up here. There is a real opportunity to flip this map, and that is exactly what KC Pioneers have done. There is a serious opportunity here to try and even things up if this next hill goes well.
And I was going to say, unfortunately, you don't have enough effort concentrated towards this lower left portion of the map, so your teammates have to wrap back and give up good time to try and protect P4 in the setup you have. They're able to do that, so the reinforcements come in at the right time. Now they need to hold off this first wave as they're outnumbered here by OMiT Brooklyn.
OMiT Brooklyn, I mean, you cannot afford to let them through. Didn't quite expect a second player there, did Arstes. So Tyrael winning that gunfight is going to influence the spawns enough now that OMiT Brooklyn should have a continual presence around the backline. KC Pioneers, they know it. They have to win these gunfights. Rex getting that double is everything for KC Pioneers. Mercules and Neptune might well combine for 2 around the front, but Pioneers, they're holding on for now. Neptune trying to create a route around the backline here. It's Neptune looking for more value, just trying to create some space for the rest of his team around the front line. He is wasting so much time and so much energy for KC Pioneers here. And still, I mean, Pioneers, they're doing a good job of holding the vast majority of this time. Look at this lead. It's completely disintegrated in front of our very eyes here, Cash.
About 40 or so points, but you had just called. It was about 100 going into P3, and like you said, they have disintegrated that lead, put themselves in striking distance to overtake it. You hold OMiT Brooklyn from crossing that daunting 200-point threshold. So now mid-map for the third go-around, up for grabs. KC Pioneers looking like they're stringing things together. Dylan Rex, Gunny's getting hot for him, 27 and 18, feeling himself in this one. The rest of the team looks to get on board, looks to try to make magic happen to get them back here. Dylan Rex still connecting for kills. Now they can look to jump on and soak time. A lead that was nearly 100 points now down to about 35. KC Pioneers have fought their way back into this one. We wondered how they could do it, and they're showing us right here and right now how they've gotten it done.
Yeah, and definitely got themselves back in the conversation here. But OMiT Brooklyn, that early advantage has been everything for them. They continue to live off it. But KC Pioneers getting back into the conversation. Is it enough? Subs really starting to heat up here. Rex going back towards his Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 form. Heck, pretty much every single game that we've seen him playing since he's been in challenges, trying to basically single-handedly carry KC Pioneers through the rest of the game. And to be honest, I mean, they're doing a good job. But right now, when you look towards the rotation, KC Pioneers need to swiftly take OMiT Brooklyn out of these power positions. They're just not able to do it, saying that Mercules gets shut down. And now there is an opportunity for KC Pioneers to fight this one from the front.
Dylan Rex simply cannot be stopped right now. Just when they think they have everything cleared out and good to go, Dylan Rex is still alive, still kicking. And when he's not up, the rest of his teammates have been able to clean things up. A 20-point deficit that they faced. Now, OMiT Brooklyn get a chance to extend once again as the rest of the team working towards this poolside, working through Vault to try to find an opening. They don't have to play rushed. They don't have to play fast. Just a concentrated, coordinated effort, and they can get right back in the cell.
KC Pioneers at this stage of the game can't really afford to give this time up, so they will continue to hit this over and over again, but immediately stop before they even get a real look at it as Neptune and Mercules take them down. So this is time for OMiT Brooklyn that will edge them ever so close to that 250-point mark. Just one good break, and they will be good for it. KC Pioneers know that, so they have to be in two minds at the moment. Think about the rotation towards the next hard point after this one, and of course, keep OMiT Brooklyn out of this hill. That is the path to victory. Can they win these first set of gunfights? There's the opening from Tyrael and Neptune. Trade from Standy. Is that good enough to keep OMiT Brooklyn away? Never mind. Mercury is going to take down one. And at this point in time, with 10 seconds on the board for KC Pioneers, you have to send it towards the kill. Fellows not even going to let that happen. Players cut down off the spawn. This one looks like it might be over.
Less than 10 seconds remaining. No one close to home. You can cut these players off spawn. And again, 3 seconds left. No one going to be able to do anything more than contest.
Oh! It must be like 0.1 seconds on the clock. Pioneers have managed to touch OMiT Brooklyn, just a sliver of time away from taking this hard point home. All you have to do is get on towards the point, and even that's not enough. Contention coming through from KC Pioneers. They're somehow, some way keeping this game alive. Just send it towards the point. Fellow finds 3. And that's going to be it here for game number 1. OMiT Brooklyn come out on top after an eclectic start to that one.
It was definitely one that felt closer than even the score showed at times. You were able to bring the deficit, if you are KC Pioneers, to about 30 or so points there towards the later stretches. But again, P2, you talked about it. They're going to continue hitting it over and over again because they couldn't let that back 25-ish seconds go uncontested. Unfortunately, even though they tried, they get wiped away from the board. That puts you at about the 235 mark going into P3. And though it was a valiant effort, and maybe if it was a little bit later in the hard point, what could have been with contesting that towards the end going into P4. But we'll never know. OMiT Brooklyn did their due diligence. They find a way to close out map number 1, and again, are feeling good going into map number 2. KC Pioneers simply outplayed and outclassed there.
Yeah, just a phenomenal performance, I think, on the whole, from OMiT Brooklyn. Special shout out to Mercules. You guys, I don't think can see this, but I have the stats in front of me. 37 and 21 is what he finishes that game. Just an insane performance from Mercules, who is, again, the name that we're talking about coming into Black Ops 6 as potentially the rookie to come out of North America for the 2025 season. He's not really a rookie, but rookie with an asterisk. To the definition of the word. And Neptune as well. I mean, 28 and 24 had a phenomenal start to the game, though. I think that early presence from those two players alone for OMiT Brooklyn basically guaranteed them that, what was it, 90-point lead, I want to say they had going into the second set.
Yeah, it was a 90-point lead, and it was one that gave them just enough for when KC Pioneers started them out and come back. Again, they did so much of that hard work early that they could afford, to maybe give up some time here and there. And it was well-earned time for KC Pioneers, but it was just not enough. And when you have a 90-point lead accrued, those can be tough ones to lose. There are kind of some miracle situations that teams can come back from that. So, again, it was one of those odds favoring the fact that you're going to walk away with that map. OMiT Brooklyn do, and now we settle into map number 2, and we'll set our sights on what map? Vault. We'll go to Vault for map number 2 and get things going here. It's been a lot of that today, as we've called to before. I think Brody and I are going to be having nightmares on that map, just getting chased by Hook or something, and it's just going to be never ending. But terrifying. I'm excited to see the change of teams that we have on this, though Vault plays the same per se as what the map layout is. It's exciting to see what these teams bring to it. This will be our first time today seeing OMiT Brooklyn on it and what their play style is. KC Pioneers have had a dominant showing on this map earlier today. After map 1, I don't know if that'll be the case. Again, you always expect the bounce back between teams of this high of caliber, but we'll see what OMiT Brooklyn look to pull out of the bag and see if they have any unorthodox looks.
Yeah, I think for me, right, again, how many times today, right now, are we going to talk about the subs? I think we talk about it quite often, and it has to be the conversation point with Bolt, right, where, we look towards what the subs are bringing to the table in map number 1, and just that pressure from Mercules and Neptune was everything for OMiT Brooklyn. And it's hard not to imagine a case, as has been consistently the case throughout today, that will also be the same in towards the Vault Search and Destroy as well. We will show you guys the maps because you guys haven't seen them yet. Obviously, we kind of spoiled the fact that it is going to be a triple Vault affair to kick off this best of 5. However, if we get it past these first 3 maps, which is always a possibility with how competitive North America is, Cash, we have a red card hardpoint and a Skyline Search and Destroy to close out this best of 5. So honestly, I'm kind of excited, mate. It's like, you finish and you you order a Domino's. You guys have Domino's in America, right? You're
Yeah,
ordering
yeah.
a Domino's and you eat your pizza, and then there's some nice ice cream afterwards. I feel like Skyline is the ice cream, and we just got to get through some bland ass pizza first.
Yeah, and I'll even give an Ohio shout out, Skyline Chili. It's very controversial, but yeah, some people love it, and that could be, the ending to a perfect meal, or it could be something devastating. And if you know, type of thing. But it's going to be
Kind of want to
exciting to
know
see if
now.
we can. Yeah, no, I don't know that you do. We'll give context after the show. Don't worry about it. But it's something that if we can get past these vaults, it should be exciting to see either these teams on. You think of Red Card, the map that perhaps is the most spread and gives the mixier opportunities for teams. ARs really get to shine a bit more on that map as it's rather awkwardly shaped, not your traditional 3-lane map. It can play like that at times, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's just one that we're begging to get off of Vault for. So please, if you can hear us, let's go map 4 and 5. Regardless, these teams are definitely going to give us an interesting show, though it is back-to-back vaults. It's going to be one that, again, they're going to have things to show us and things to prove to show that they want this winner's advantage going into grand finals. And OMiT Brooklyn come out and make that statement early in map number 1. Map number 2 will be underway shortly for us, but what do you think for KC Pioneers they need to focus on in map 2 to bounce back?
I don't know. I mean, it sounds so simplistic, but it really does feel like just shutting down Mercules and Nep right off the
Mm-hmm.
start. I know that Nep did have a relatively slower end to that hard point, so it certainly feels possible that you can shut him down. But dude, I mean, Mercules just feels like an absolute demon right now. He feels like a
Yeah.
prodigy that you need to take out before he can get going. And I talk about it quite a lot, right? But like, you know, Vault Search and Destroy. It's early Call of Duty, right? It's early Black Ops 6. And in early game, it always feels very one dimensional in the way that you play these maps, right? It always comes down to, okay, so Team X needs to do Y and they will get Z. It's really as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. And in this instance, it's team on the offense needs to get control of the A bomb site, win those opening bloods. And you should, as long as you're not playing stupid, like we've seen teams do in the past, we've seen it a couple of times today, win out the rounds. As long as you don't run into flames, just flop yourselves
Yeah.
out onto the
Yeah.
pool for a free piece. But still, that feels like the right thing to do for me. And so it does come down to, well, you know that the likely person you're going to hit inside the site is going to be Mercules. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to win those ones. You have to make sure you open up those first bloods. And really, I mean, make OMiT Brooklyn rethink how they want to play their
Mm-hmm.
offenses. Because if you could do that, if you can, consistently take out these subs on OMiT Brooklyn at the start of these search and destroy rounds, for me, I think
Yeah.
that's where things will change. You'll, definitely kind of win the mental game out versus your opposition, but you got to win those first bloods.
Yeah, definitely initiating and winning those first bloods, just mitigating the impacts of their impact players. And I think a lot of time in Vault things get so mixy down in lower Vault where you kind of take that gunfight and you start sprinting immediately. I'd like to see some players maybe hold an iron a bit more, just because down there, so seldomly are you going to send just one player to maybe contest that, whether it's offensively or defensively. So maybe if you find a kill, whether it be a first blood or not, but holding an iron for a second, seeing if you can get another player to chow out right behind them if the bait and switch timing is off.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things you can do that maybe will give you an advantage in those gunfights. Team kills get a little bit dicey down there too. It is quite the tight fit for 4 players to get into. We've seen a couple of players get shot in the back of the head by their teammates just trying to be a little over aggressive and get some kills. So there are a lot of things that can go right down there if executed properly, and there are also a lot of things that can go wrong if you have miscommunication about what the play call is exactly. So you talk about Mercury, you talk about Neptune and mitigating their impact. That's definitely something you're going to have to look to do here going into map number 2. And again, you think of Dylan Rex and what he's done the entire day for this squad
Mm-hmm.
in KC Pioneers. It's just been 3-piece after 3-piece after clutch plays to keep them alive. And not to say he's the only one doing anything, but he has been the one that comes to mind for KC Pioneers of having those big moments that have
Yeah.
kind of gotten life brought back into this team.
And that's not surprising considering Rex has
Mm-hmm.
just been that guy over the last few years, right? I mean, there was conversations about him having to be in the league this season. That has not come to fruition. So not surprising to see Rex being the player living up to his name. That being said, guys, we do have a lobby reset here to work through. I think we're putting the lobby back together. So what we're going to do is go to a very quick break. On the other side, though, we've got a Vault Search and Destroy. Boy, oh boy, is that so exciting. We're back with that after the break. What is up, my beautiful people, and the rest of you? We've got KC Pioneers versus OMiT Brooklyn, and if you were just in the last vault, well, you'll have seen that OMiT Brooklyn won map number 1. So guess what? We just thought we'd treat you to another vault, and this time it's on Search and Destroy.
And this time, quickly, it's going to be KC Pioneers with an advantage, bomb down as well. Towards this A-bomb site, Dylan Rex. Couple of kills there to open up the round and to also look to put this one away. They throw down the rock quickly to take a page out of Brody's book. And they get this round taken care of, off to a hot start.
Have you not heard that phrase before, Ash? Is that new to you?
It's a basketball thing here.
Is it? Interesting.
Dish the rock. Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
Well, I think I might have stolen it from Proper. So maybe that's why Proper can give us an explanation as to where that comes from. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's basketball lingo. But then I'm not sure. Proper's quite small, so I'm not sure he'd like get basketball lingo.
No, definitely not.
Regardless, yes, it's a pretty phrase. OMiT Brooklyn take or lose round number 1, excuse me, and now OMiT Brooklyn want to respond with an offensive victory of their own. No competition inside the site. This is very aggressive from KC Pioneers, though. On the flip, they want to get behind enemy lines here and cause some havoc. That's exactly what they've done for that first blood.
And then you get bombed down. You keep losing lives around it. So Tuvir left alone in the site, frag in hand, hoping he can take down a few people with them. And he's at least going to try to connect from with the frag. Damage dealt enough. So Mercules in a 1 versus 3. Trying to make magic happen, and that's just not going to be the case. Outnumbered. They swarmed the site. And now with bomb getting defused, KC Pioneers quickly out to a 2 advantage stand. He finds himself on 3 kills in a row. Dylan Rex as well. Out to 2, so 5 kills between that duo going into round number 3.
Yeah, that is just a great retake coming through from KC Pioneers, and I think more accurately as well, it's that early game plan, right? You know, again, we are starting to see a little bit of spice thrown in to Vault Search and Destroy, with these players making their way not straight towards the site, not looking to stop the bomb from going down, but instead going for an immediate flank that, with the first and the second blood, works out for KC Pioneers. So numbers in your favor, rounds now in your favor. KC Pioneers already got 1 offense down, now looking to get round number 2 to their name, and they're anticipating a fast push through Vault. That is what's going to happen here. Stun check should be good to slow down Neptune, but standing down all the way to 22 HP here, just wants to back the hell up. Good read that Fellow's jumping down towards the pool, and good kill to follow up as well. Nicely done from KC Pioneers.
Oh, and I'm just so upset about that read. I mean, again, is it one that could be made? Sure, but you just think you're going to find good timing to shoot 2 players in the back, and that's just not the case. And now Dylan Rex doing what he does best, playing that overlooking AR player, dancing, diving around, and you think you're going to take the gunfight, catch him with poor timing, but he's just not a guy you are going to catch lacking very often, and it is not the case there. 3 rounds, 4 kills straight for Dylan Rex. As KC Pioneers have come to life here at map number 2.
It's just lovely to see, isn't it? KC Pioneers going off right now. The exact response we wanted to see, and it's the ingenuity of it all, really, isn't it? Although that was relatively more situational during that first blood inside the site. And of course, I think more crucially, that read coming through against Fellow is everything. OMiT Brooklyn then have to find something right about now. Now, looking to try and make their way over towards A. It's that initial push right again. This time around, KC Pioneers are meeting them where they stand. And that first blood for Rex is going to make things very awkward for OMiT Brooklyn. But what a response coming out from Fellow. Finds a couple of kills with an aid, and that situation right on its head once again.
A 2 versus 2. Still not comfortable enough to put bomb down. You want to see if someone gets a little aggressive and challenge for that Mercules. Playing like Hercules with that snap to the second. A situation that felt out of reach. Felony drops 2 nades. And Mercules closes out the round with a 2-piece. I mean, again, like you said, everything flipped on its head in that round. And finally, OMiT Brooklyn get one on the board.
Dude, it just finally, as you said, I mean, Fellow was the one that did everything there with that double nade coming through. KC Pioneers, though, Rex has been so aggressive through these early rounds. It's been a big reason why KC Pioneers have the lead that they do into this search and destroy. Now, do they do that same thing they did previously? Where they go straight on a flank behind OMiT Brooklyn. Well, it's OMiT Brooklyn looking to do that to KC Pioneers now. KC Pioneers have left one player all the way back, and I think OMiT Brooklyn have sniffed him out. They're on the hunt for Rex before they approach the site.
There they go. Connect for the kill. Now they can set their eyes forward. Arcides playing top out. Going to be a tricky one to kill as he looks to relocate as well, and everyone just flying around, shuffling around the map, and you've got to make a move. Neptune going to try to get anything going here as Mercules cleans up a kill on the other side. Felony as well. So a 2 versus 1. Standy going to have to try to hop this. Going to have to get, going to have to try to defend this. While OMiT try to hop and get the defuse, and quickly taken out via a pinch play. OMiT Brooklyn, 2 straight rounds here.
Yeah, that just collapse coming through there from OMiT Brooklyn. With everything, again, nicely done simultaneously. Players on both sides of the site, and KC Pioneers were not quite ready for it. We'll see it from Mercury's point of view here towards the end. The team shots alongside Neptune, ensuring that Standy is removed from the site. So KC Pioneers now losing a couple of rounds away to OMiT Brooklyn. Brooklyn starting to get some momentum, and we've seen this so many times today, right, Cash, where a team will win the early rounds in Search and Destroy and end up losing the later ones. We saw it earlier on in Europe between Team Notorious and Katana. I believe we saw it on this very map mode combination earlier on today as well. So for OMiT Brooklyn, it's a chance to really put some momentum forward. They have site control this time around, and it is uncontested.
The only problem is with the last time around that they did this, those Jackals turned the corner and chowed Volt Hall to Dylan Rex's AR. So again, it's just playing with a little more intelligence and situational awareness of should you or should you not be taking this. Peeking for info is one thing, but staring down the barrel of 2 ARs is a complete other thing. Neptune finds one, tries to snap around for the second, is going to be able to. Round, open, closed. OMiT Brooklyn find themselves their third one here and tie things up.
And OMiT Brooklyn just really starting to heat up now. And again, I know we're kind of gassing KC Pioneers up early on to the Search and Destroy, and for good reason, because those first 3 rounds were phenomenal from them. But the last 3, I mean, it's everything that we said they needed to stop, right? You can see that in the streaks. Mercury's now on 4 in a row. Neptune on 3 in a row. The sub pressure for OMiT Brooklyn. The subs are starting to find the right paths through the map. KC Pioneers have to adapt fast. If not, they will die very quickly here in this Search and Destroy. Here comes that initial push towards A. Once again, not an immediate response coming out from OMiT Brooklyn, so this bomb will go down scot-free, but it's the response after that that I'm intrigued by, and 2 real down for the count. That's a good response coming out from KC Pioneers.
Where's Dylan Rex playing? Outer Palms. Felony and Mercules both have to combine to get that player taken down, and they do. Standy still making noise. Running around here. Fellow going to be the only one left. And they have info as to where he is. What kind of timing can Johnny find? Should be able to get shots in the side and will. So that's going to be the round. You wanted to slow down the momentum of OMiT Brooklyn. KC Pioneers do a good job of slowing that roll a little bit. Again, just a good job isolating those players, winning their 1v1s. And with Dylan Rex playing in the same spot, it's almost like you can use him as bait to maybe find a couple of free picks going forward, given that he likes to play Outer Palm so much. Regardless, they don't need to use any kind of bait. They just need to play around the info they have. As they get their 4th round on the board, creeping ever so close to that 6th round mark.
And I like that, that play from KC Pioneers, right? Just no nonsense whatsoever. Just get that bomb down on A site, go for a standard approach, and throw OMiT Brooklyn off. That's exactly what they did, and they shut down Neptune and Mercules on those streaks as well. Now KC Pioneers, same strat we saw early on in this one. They want to try and get some aggression forward, but I mean, Brooklyn, they're having none of it, right? They have players ready to catch KC Pioneers before they can get behind enemy lines. Mercules, eagle eye on this cross. With that bomb down, they have every single eye possible on this flank.
Eyes up. What can they find here? Trades go back and forth and continue to do so in the feed, and Johnny just gonna hop the bomb. This could work out beautifully.
They know. They know. KC Pioneers absolutely know where those players are located. What a heads-up play call coming through from Johnny to make sure that that bomb defusal comes through and the round victory as well. I love that call. And you can absolutely tell, right? I mean, they just knew, hey, OMiT Brooklyn had such a presence on the flank. They don't actually have anybody on this bomb.
Oh, and just the nerve to stick it. You didn't quite have eyes or an angle enough to pepper shots. You weren't quite sure. But again, like you said, good out of KC Pioneers to make sure they can stick that, get that defuse in, and now put themselves on map point to try and answer back 1-1 in the series.
And KC Pioneers, this response from them has been brilliant over the last couple of rounds. OMiT Brooklyn, what do they do? Aggression for the defensive side. That stun, don't believe actually connects onto anybody. So OMiT Brooklyn here might have gotten past. The rock is actually being laid over by B. This is a hell of a Hail Mary coming through from KC Pioneers. First blood on the retake from Fellow. And I tell you what, if I can do it, you can do it, I can do it too. Coming out from OMiT Brooklyn, immediate hot coming through from 2 Real, and Arcetes was getting into position to try and hit the long-range shots, but does not get there in time. That is a hell of a heads-up play call from 2 Real.
Just a way to answer back, also, in similar fashion. How about the tack usage also from Fellow? Just been on point this map, especially in the hard point as well. They keep themselves close. Again, no room for mistakes as they don't have any more rounds to throw away or have taken from them. They still need 2 straight to win this as well. In KC Pioneers, you are on match point still. You need to close this out. You don't want to let OMiT Brooklyn go up 2-0. And again, like you had called to, just try to play some no-nonsense COD. Sometimes the standard strat is what works best.
Now, first blood is definitely going to help OMiT Brooklyn play that kind of strat this round. RC car from Johnny will trade things out, though. So 3 versus 3 we go. OMiT Brooklyn going to look to put the advantage back in their favor with one, and the heady from Arcetes is too strong against Fellow, but fortunately enough, trade good. Now down to a 2 versus 2. Brooklyn have everything to work for in this situation, and those players from KC Pioneers are smart.
And do they decide to circle back to one another? Mercury's clearing out so much. What kind of timing can you find when you drop low vault? Doesn't realize though if the players wrap back up. Johnny could find immaculate timing on a mid map and does. Now can you win the gunfight against Mercury's? The shoulder, the shimmy coming in, not gonna be able to take it. Johnny drops low. Johnny connects for 2. It's KC Pioneers. Also secure map number 2.
Mercules, I think it was Mercules there in the middle of the map, right? Tried his darndest to play his life and play around the pillar, Omni movement his way out of that situation, but it does not happen. The shush to close out the search and destroy as KC Pioneers going to take this one and tie up the series at 1-1. Just a phenomenal, I think, search and destroy. Really from both sides. So there was a lot of back and forth there between, I think, both of the rosters. And albeit, I think KC Pioneers almost let OMiT Brooklyn back into that search and destroy. They shut them up towards the end.
They really did, and again, it takes a good play like that to kind of refresh yourself going into a new map, especially to close out the map in that fashion. So KC maybe feeling like they're a little bit back. It was a rough map 1 for them, but they're able to kind of get their footing, feel a little bit better after map number 2. We talked about this series having some length to it. We're guaranteed a red card. Guaranteed a new map, so we can live with that. But again, we talk going into this, right, that it has game 5 potential written all over it, and definitely these first 2 maps are a testament of that. We'll go to back-to-back respawns where, again, I'd be very pressed to see KC Pioneers be as flat-footed in these next 2 respawns as they were in map number 1, and that's not to take away from how well OMiT Brooklyn played, but KC Pioneers are definitely a team that look to carry some of that respawn prowess as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to bring to the table to control specifically. We've seen them on it earlier. They took care of business. And we'll see what they can do and throw at OMiT Brooklyn to maybe shake up this series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we've got some kind of shake-up of the series, right? Because we had, a 3-0 in the last series. I didn't want to see an immediate another 3-0, even though it probably would have put us on schedule a little bit more. I would need to see something competitive, and I'm so glad that we've now got that, as KC Pioneers are able to tie this series up at 1-1. Yeah, I mean, we got a Vault coming up next, so we'll see whether or not things will change as we get back into the respawn, but it has been a competitive series so far, and, I'm excited to see how things shake out as we get into this next Vault control. I don't know at this point, honestly. Expectations, I think, early on in the Black Ops 6 season, especially for North America with how competitive things are kind of very hard to set. So we'll see. Regardless, though, guys, we're going to take a break here between maps, just to kind of refresh ourselves. It's been a pretty long day for us, especially as Cash and I have casted, the last 3 series straight now. So
Something like that.
yeah, something like that. We're going to get some water. We're going to go through a quick pre-break and get the next lobby set up. So don't go far, folks, because after this, we've got a Vault control here between OMiT Brooklyn and KC Pioneers. Alrighty, folks, we're back here with the broadcast. Apologies for the delay there. We're back with KC Pioneers and OMiT control. If you want tied a vault, well, we most certainly are. Regardless, though, Brooklyn going to start this one. Did just lose the session for KC Pioneers. So bouncing back in the respawn, I think, is what they want to do.
Definitely want to get the leg up in the series. Once again, they played strong in map number 1 respawn, and now that we have 2 ahead of us, they definitely should be feeling good about this. As defensively, they're going to try to make a stand. This map is so defensive heavy. They have the advantage here in round number 1. Now, can they find form? Can they hold off this attack long enough to be able to close out the round with 55 seconds left? There's still a lot ahead of us as far as this round is concerned. Now, an effort on both sides going down. Johnny going to try to make noise, make something happen, as now he bows out. His teammates have stepped off for the moment. But as they have control of mid-map, they just need to decide where they want to go, and the gunfights are going to dictate that. Losing B means the fight is on at A, and now here come OMiT Brooklyn.
Brooklyn want to try and make their way through. Mercury's going to find one. Going to get shut down there by KC Pioneers, and doubling up almost immediately is going to be Arsty. So second tick here should be good for KC Pioneers. And honestly, at this stage, I wouldn't be surprised if they just got all 3 ticks through. I mean, Brooklyn might go for a little bit of a last-minute Hail Mary. That kill from T-Real might give them some hope that they can stop this point. And I think more than hope, as a matter of fact, Arsty's all of a sudden finds himself isolated, overwhelming. The point is OMiT Brooklyn. They will save A for the moment.
Talked about them being flat-footed in a respawn and maybe a little complacent there for a moment that, yeah, OMiT Brooklyn, we're going to back off the site, but 3 kills quickly come in, and all of a sudden with 30 seconds on the clock, your backs are against the wall. The progress that you had, the extra 60 seconds bought, all of a sudden wiped away from you as they're going to quickly jump on and stack this point again. T-Real gearing up for another hit on the flank.
Well, T-Real is going to get cut down, I believe. So OMiT Brooklyn here. Going to have to just rely on players around the front of this point on the defense. They have a 1 life advantage as it currently stands, so not necessarily sure this will come down to time as much as it probably will do live. So that's a nice nade to open things up. Fellow going to follow up with another one as well. OMiT Brooklyn are winning all of the crucial gunfights across the map here, and that's going to, I think, cause KC Pioneers to do something a little bit more creative. They have to get players in behind enemy lines. If anybody is going to do it at this point, it's probably going to be Dylan Rex, who I believe does get cut down. So KC Pioneers here might have to be going a little bit more standard with it. You've just got to hit this one through the front, and you're not winning the trades.
Plain and simple, that's what makes these standard pushes so much more difficult, is when, again, when you're trading out, that's not even good enough because you're just losing your players that are advanced across the map. And Dylan Rex gearing up for another flank, except this time he brings Johnny with him, and I think that's the smarter move because you put so much pressure on Dylan Rex to make the big play, and now that you bring some effort with you, 2 from the front, Johnny finds 1 from the back, Mercury's still alive, a 3-for-2 trade, but the clock is stopped. 4v5. This is it for both teams.
This is it, 4v5. Coming down to the old S&D, more or less, at this point. Arsty's up top is being a real nuisance towards OMiT Brooklyn, but it doesn't matter. Trades in favor for OMiT Brooklyn. Players on the point, now 3 versus 3. Fellow, gonna get cut down now, and you're isolated if you're the last couple of players, but you're somehow gonna win it down to a 2 versus 2. First tick now gonna be through for KC Pioneers. Turiel trying to make something happen. You've lost Mercury's in the play, and now gonna win the 1 kill. Can't get the second done. Comes down to a 1 versus 1. KC Pioneers come out on top. It's squeaky bum time for the end of that offense, but they get it done.
Wasn't pretty, but like you said, they do enough to win the round. And that was just switching up that last push. Dylan Rex, we called it on that flank the first time around, right? Gets picked pretty quickly, but needed to do something a little more secure, a little more solidified, and getting that push through, and brings Johnny on the flank. Standy and co find a couple at the front as well, so that lets that pinch come through with a bit more ease, and they capitalize behind that, though you try to bring the lives back if you are OMiT Brooklyn, not quite enough. As KC Pioneers walk away with round number 1 on the offensive side of things, which is just huge going into the later portions of this control. Now they find themselves on defense. Can they get themselves a 2-round advantage here?
Yeah, I don't know at this point, to be honest with you. It's a lot to ask for. KC Pioneers, though, did just manage to eke out that round number 1, so they're certainly capable of it. Got to stop OMiT Brooklyn off the start of this round, though. That's a good start. Fellow down for the count. You're winning the vast majority of the gunfights. Neptune, the only one to find any value, and he'll actually follow up with a second kill towards B, so that's going to momentarily cause some issues here. Neptune continues on over by B, so he has single half out for OMiT Brooklyn at the moment, giving them a lot of space. On the other side, facing their own hero in Dylan Red. picking up kills, picking up frags in the kill field, and keeping OMiT Brooklyn away from Mercules. Does momentarily get by, but I think, again, the fact that Rex is there for KC Pioneers, it stops OMiT Brooklyn from acting on the heroic.
Such a tough player to bring down, as we're seeing with his POV. Just how much movement is in his gameplay just to make him that much harder of a kill. Trophy system going down. A couple players working towards Cat 4 at Brooklyn, but again, 30 seconds remaining, and sure, they're working through poolside, maybe through bottom vault, but these kills not going their way at the moment as Dylan Rex still on a tear, still on 6 in a row, and all you're asking is where did he get to? Neptune able to take him out, now you're able to stop the clock at A for a moment. As these players from KC Pioneers work off spawn, still getting picked apart.
Yeah, OMiT Brooklyn now looking for anything they can possibly get here. They're just losing all of their gunfights all of a sudden. It's just down to Tyrael inside the zone. You've lost all the help from the rest of your teammates as well. It's looking bleak if you're OMiT Brooklyn here on this offense. I mean, to be fair, somehow Tyrael hasn't been found out. Finally he is. It doesn't matter because he gets away with that kill against Standy. And he's still playing his life, despite the fact that he's lost absolutely every single teammate possible. Is that enough now with 10 seconds on the clock to have bought some time for the rest of your team? And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case here. OMiT Brooklyn with 3 seconds left. It is done. So Handy finishing this round, finishing this round on 4 in a row. That is a dominant defense coming out from KC Pioneers.
Truly so, and puts himself in a great position by, again, giving up such few ticks that if for some reason OMiT Brooklyn find themselves back in this control, KC Pioneers have done everything you would ask a team to do to set themselves up for success. Not only in a round 5 if it goes there, but again, just with the ability in one round to close out a 3-0, now they're being asked to do that on offense. So we haven't seen today a team on offense answer twice. It's usually been all defense until round 5 as far as victories are concerned. So if KC Pioneers can pull away this offense and close out this control, that would definitely be close to a first as far as on broadcast goes for us. Here watching control. They're poised and ready to do it. You've called it. I've called it time and time again. Their guns are hot. They're winning their gunfights where they need to and when they need to. And now it is a quick, concentrated push towards this A site as these gunfights look to ring out.
KC Pioneers looking to close things out here in a 3-0 fashion. It would be a very swift way to end this control. OMiT Brooklyn going to win the first couple of gunfights, though. Things looking pretty good if you're an OMiT Brooklyn fan here on the defense. KC Pioneers trying to make a transition happen over towards B still. Rex is really the player to get it done, if anything. And as I say that, Tyrael slides out to finish things off. So KC Pioneers now going to have to readjust themselves over towards... What is that from Tyrael? Completely flies across the map to take Standy down. And I was going to say they'll have to readjust their expectations for an A hit. But, I mean, with the players like Tyrael around, I don't think they'll have a chance.
Johnny wrapping around mid-map and going to create an opening for his team to work through spawn side onto the point, and now just going to try to play his cutoff as players push through mid, but everyone from Brooklyn taking routes on the outskirts of the map, trying to find their way in, but everyone aware of it, everyone going to be able to connect for these kills. Quite a few people get in the feed, and now as they have this progress secured towards A, they're going to quickly make the jump towards B, even maybe stopping this progress on A just to get that done, but Top Art taking control, 2 players on B, 1 on A. Now decision time for Brooklyn.
OMiT Brooklyn have to think about how they want to hold this defense, and it's just not happening. That is basically a full wipe coming across the board here from KC Pioneers. They are going to stack on towards B. They know that A is the easier of the 2 points to take out, so they want to get B done. Second tick about to be through. OMiT Brooklyn making the decision. Here we go. Hit on towards B. It's just not happening. You're losing all of your gunfights. Everybody but Neptune down for the count. Neptune is going to rebel enough to somehow stop this B capture going through. KC Pioneers do not have this one locked down by any stretch of the imagination. And Neptune's going to follow up with another frag as well. Cash, I do not know how this point isn't through.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And if you are KC Pioneers, it's unfortunate that it's not, because you look at the clock and there's only 30 seconds remaining. So they're going to have to commit to a site. They wrap back to A to be able to commit. But Neptune, Mercury's combined for a couple. They don't give this A side up easily, but you find that last kill. Now you find yourselves with another 60 seconds on the clock. So though B site, we're wondering how it didn't get through. Now an opportunity for it to work that way. They've brought lives back, though, for the side of OMiT Brooklyn. Just a 5 life deficit.
Yeah.
So here, if you're KC, you could maybe play some TDM, a little bit of the clock to work with. And that's perhaps what they're trying to do here, is they look to slowly work up street.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, the lives aren't that threatening to OMiT Brooklyn, but now I think they most certainly are. Double nade from Fellow will actually combine for 3 here. Fellow completely wipes the squad! And that might have saved OMiT Brooklyn, at least momentarily. Complete wipe from Fellow. Didn't get to see it from his POV, but you saw it in the feed. It's going to give OMiT Brooklyn a lifeline. Can they phone a friend? They have any 50-50s left. I don't know. I hope you guys have seen He Wants to Be a Millionaire, but regardless, OMiT Brooklyn here. Starting to lose all of their lifelines. They've lost fellow out of the rounds, and he's not coming back.
Just 3 players. 3 players, a couple grenades, and a dream, and unfortunately the grenades ring out from the wrong side of things. 2 players connect there towards the end, and the 3rd kill rings through. KC Pioneers walk away with a convincing 3-0, though it was close in the rounds themselves. When push came to shove, and whoever needed to go big and make the bigger play, in the moments that mattered most, KC Pioneers did just that. They were able to answer the call to really any kind of pushback that OMiT Brooklyn had. 2 offensive rounds at that, which is definitely the more impressive part of that entire control. They put themselves in the driver's seat of the series up 2-1, and we go to a red card hard point here where even our players are going to have to shift their mindset to maybe think about how it's going to be played, but they know exactly what they're going to want to do. And again, this is just the KC Pioneers we talked about at the top of the show for this series specifically. Disciplined, poised, just they've been flat-footed here, and I think gone down 0-1 at least a couple of series we've seen for them today, but they find a way to bounce back. So they start a little bit lackluster, and here they start to prove why they're the team that wants to make their way through two grand finals through the winners bracket. They just don't look to be shaken very often. They find the way to settle into their rhythm, and again, look to punish the opposing teams when they get a little complacent.
Yeah, they are going to have to rethink going into this next map, aren't they? What is red card? I've not seen this map before. I don't know. I thought we only had Vault in Black Ops 6. So,
yeah, I no, this is a new one for all of us. Maybe they're just whipping maps out of the playlist going into the CDL thing for us. Nuketown might be map 5 if I double check. We could just see a little bit of everything here, but that'd be an amazing hard point to watch, I won't lie. But yeah, red card is going to be one that definitely slows down to an extent. I say that, but this is the upper echelon of players, so I'm going to completely eat my words as they high fly across the map, but slows down as far as a little more to clear out as you cross the map. You can get kind of caught in some dead man zones where, again, crossing over towards that top right side of the map where you go from P1 over to stage. A lot of open area, a lot of AR power positions to look out for. So crossing those routes as a sub is going to be a little trickier. Definitely going to see a little more movement on display. And again, the ARs are going to have to really make their presence felt here in this even more so than they did on Vault, where the subs could kind of carry things. You think to your AR players like Arcides, especially for KC Pioneers, to try to step up and look to shut the door on this series effectively. And you think of Fellow, and on the other side of things, leading the charge for OMiT Brooklyn, 2 veteran players that know what they need to do to rally the troops. And being AR players at that, I expect them to have a good toe-to-toe match here in map number 4 and really see who can kind of either close out the series or take advantage of things and maybe give their team life still here in the winners bracket.
Yeah, I'm just excited to have some kind of conversation that's not just, hey, the subs are where we're going for this one, right? Because it does,
that too.
I know that obviously the ARs do have something to say on Vault, but I think, certainly it does feel like for Red Guard, now the ARs do have more of a say, right? So we're no longer just going to be focusing on the subs. And I wonder to a certain extent, even though we know what the ARs of OMiT Brooklyn are capable of, whether or not that does kind of change things against them moving forward into this one. It does shift. We've talked about a lot about, kind of Mercules being that young gun for this roster, and Neptune returning to Call of Duty properly. I mean, he was there towards the end of the Modern Warfare 3 season, but it wasn't to any real notable extent. But now we're like, all right, well, now what do Turiel and Fellow have for us? It feels like Fellow at the moment is like cooking up real good nades. That's really, he's playing well, don't get me wrong. But it seems to be the nades for whatever reason that he's playing extremely well at the moment. Whether or not he and Turiel can really step things up here as we get into this next map. I mean, are we going to see them really kind of take off for OMiT Brooklyn towards that game 5?
Yeah, you definitely want to see the likes of them step up because you think of the ARs on the other side of things, Dylan, Rex, and Arcides, and that's just one of the top, if not the top AR duo in challengers. I mean, it's just an unreal set of players to be going up against. So you have to answer that call for sure. I would say that they're the underdog duo going into this matchup as we get onto red card. And I think that's really going to be telling of kind of how this map goes and is dictated, even just as far as kill goes. And we've seen teams get outslayed and still win hard points, and red card could very well be one of those maps. maps. Every player, of course, is going to have to play their game going into this one. You can't say that, oh, it's just the ARs, and kind of like you had pointed to, right? Oh, it's just the subs on Vault. Everyone still has their impact, but we're just putting emphasis on these players because of how the map changes, how these long lines of sight come into play as far as getting map positioning goes for your team. And that's why we put so much emphasis on certain players and certain roles because of the impact we expect them to have around the map. And red card definitely gives us that implication.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're just waiting for Red Card Hardpoint to get underway, so I believe we're going to send it to a quick break here. So again, we're really late into the light, and there's no point us just waffling on about random bollocks. So we'll go to a break, guys. On the other side, we're going to have a Red Card Hardpoint, so don't go far, because after this, it's going to be more Call of Duty from Challengers Cup. All right, folks, welcome back here to the game. We're just going to hop straight in now to red card hard point between OMiT Brooklyn and KC Pioneers. And it's worth saying, for those of you guys who are paying attention, we had to switch sides very briefly here. I believe these guys are on the right side, right? Am I going crazy here? They
No,
are on the
I
right
think
side.
we're good. Yeah, we are
Oh,
good.
okay, we're good. I thought I was fully expecting them to be on the wrong side. We've been told that they've been on the wrong side. But don't worry, our production's amazing. So we got everything sorted really quick last minute. And now we're all good. So I'm in Brooklyn, looking to try and hold out the series to a game 5 cash. Can they get it done?
Yeah, we'll find that answer here in this map number 4, but they absolutely have the tools in their arsenal to be able to get it done as they open up with a good P1, clean time on the board, 15 seconds and going. As they try to find footing after map number 3, a bit unnerving it was for them as they were not able to really get anything going. It was a 3-0, and now they have to respond in this hard point to force it to a map number 2, or map number 5, sorry, search and destroy. Last bit of scrap time. Going towards KC Pioneers, but as we work towards this goal side, soccer side of the map, OMiT Brooklyn going to be here first, going to be able to find these picks. And we talk about these AR power positions. These were the ones I was alluding to. These are the gunfights I'm talking about. Arcides wins the first one as now he looks to push the line forward towards this quick break. As though you have a lead if you're OMiT Brooklyn. KC Pioneers are on the door knocking.
KC Pioneers trying to hold on towards this time. Vast majority of the gunfight is being won by them. And close spawns from Brooklyn will give them the shot towards this hard point. Mercules combines for threes, tripling up towards the hard point. Will get shut down, but that should open the door here for Brooklyn to make their way on towards the point. RCT shooting through the goal. Can he score? Will not find much of anything whatsoever. 3 in a row. The rest of the teammates dying around you. You really do need to play hero in this situation. He's doing exactly that for a 1 kill at the very least, but it's not enough to keep OMiT Brooklyn out of this hard point. So OMiT Brooklyn here should be good for the remainder of this time. I say that, they haven't actually got anybody in it. They're more preoccupied with taking the fights up top here, Gash.
Trying to get the players out of these power positions and sure they clean up a little sloppily on the back end of time. But now we got a parking garage where it's Mercules quickly on a route. And now he's got spawns in the back for his team. So you're trying to play cutoff, but you've got Standy out of position here late to the party as they're quickly getting overwhelmed from the front side of things. Tuber going to push out, connects for 1, and now 1 player left to clean up on stairs, and you do just that. Tuber locking down time for his team, but the parallels coming in. We talked about this earlier. Oh, so close to the hill. That allows a lot of players, a lot of opportunities to hit these sites over and over again. That's what's going on here. This one is going to go down to the wire on this hill.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Brooklyn trying to fight some time here. Neptune and Fellow will combine for 3, so they should be good for it. But close spawns for KC Pioneers will enable them to threaten over and over again. Good reads coming through from OMiT Brooklyn. Recognize that that's where these players will be hitting the hill from. A couple of kills now starting to come through from KC Pioneers. Good response here from Mercules inside. Down to 77 HP. We'll have to hit the regen before challenging out Rex, and he knows that as well. But you're okay with this if you're OMiT Brooklyn. You know exactly where KC Pioneers are spawning. You can keep them at bay while you rotate over towards New. This is good for the OMiT Brooklyn squad.
And now as New looks to pop, like you had said, everything going their way as far as rotation is concerned. Fellow playing low stage, trying to wall bang. Tack's going to come in, no trophy in sight. So Standy will clean up that kill, and that's going to allow KC Pioneers time for the moment. This is that kind of dead space around the map where you have to be so careful crossing everything on that stage, just about wall bangable also. So it's not great to find cover unless you're low stage. It's going to be a tricky one to hold on to, contested for the time being. The wraparound coming in. Arcides able to find another Dylan Rex on the back of that. So a break comes in. Trying to close his deficit. About 30 seconds at this point. Peekaboo and Arcides takes it. Now needing to close this gap even further. Enough time to do it, but Mercules contest from the top.
It's unfortunate though for Mercules. He will get shut down by Standy. So for KC Pioneers, they'll be happy to take that scrap time away from OMiT Brooklyn. Presuming it is scrap time, of course, we can't actually see how much time is left on each hard point. OMiT Brooklyn have to scarp us over towards the rotation. Their lead reduced to just 20 seconds here as the new hill pops. Johnny immediately starting to aggress towards the hard point. Only going to find 1 before being shut down here. Sent back towards the respawn point. Neptune trying to provide some coverage through the middle of the map here and is about to wrap behind these players. How much value can Neptune find? Nicely done for Neptune. Picks up where his teammates left off. That wrap is good enough to provide some space for the teammates. But we know how close these spawns can be here on Red Card Cash. It won't be long before KC Pioneers are right back at the hard point.
Johnny trying to make that happen even faster with the route, securing spawns, but again, Neptune playing deep enough that he knows Johnny's a player that likes to hit the route and able to sniff that one out, allow his team to focus their eyes forward and thwart this effort coming in from KC Pioneers from the front. That funnel of death from Parking Garage is so tough to push through to get any kind of time. You're going to have to chalk it, let OMiT Brooklyn get up to another substantial lead. It's going to be about 60 points here as we go back to P1. We'll kick things off again. KC Pioneers looking to get a little more time off of this than they did last time, as OMiT Brooklyn opened it up pretty well there. They're on time early to start.
Yeah, that was a big last hard point from OMiT Brooklyn to give themselves some distance, some space between themselves and KC Pioneers. OMiT Brooklyn looking for some control over this one. Only one player to contend with, at least for the moment. That was Standy, who is removed from that hard point. As I say it, though, KC Pioneers starting to get aggressive once again. A couple of kills will give them a chance at the hard point, but neither team wants to get somebody into it. It's just so difficult to get a player out towards the open at this point, and Rex is just trying to play around the hard point and be a nuisance with those 3 kills. Now they should feel confident enough to get themselves in towards the hard point, and they will. So, good bit of scrap time. Now they just want to control the map so they get control of P2.
Big gunfight here for Dylan Rex to win. Again, head on a swivel. There's so many angles of attack you can get pushed through, but of course, Dylan Rex take care of business, and his teammates on the other side of things clean it up as well. Now, spawns get a little interesting. If they're going to be in the back, which 3 of these players are relatively aware of and thinking that could be the case, you're going to turn your arrows that way, and that they do. Now you're trying to hunt, if you're Dylan Rex, these players on the backside, trying to watch the person on the flank, and you get taken down, but that information gets relayed to your team. Now the push quickly coming in. The Bow Constrictor around the site starting to collapse as OMiT Brooklyn get in.
OMiT Brooklyn needs to hold on here. 5 in a row for Rusties. He'll get cut down before he can earn any more. OMiT Brooklyn now going to be in for this time. You know where KC Pioneers are spawning, but can you hold them at bay? It looks to be a 3-1 split. One player coming on a late flank, and they might not even really need that player. Standy going to open things up with the first blood. Rex trying to play in and around the goalpost, but there you go. Standy in behind enemy lines will find the value. 3 in a row for him. Arsty's now following up with a double of their own, and they flip those spawns in their favor. So KC Pioneers now a shot at this scrap.
Well, from this front side, and again with another good position to be able to rotate and get out towards this new hill, but unfortunately they were outnumbered and those spawns came in close Parking Garage, so you'd like to see someone play the map a little bit better towards Eskies as you're seeing here, but they get picked quickly. That's going to allow spawns to be up for grabs. Still spawning safe is going to be KC Pioneers, but someone needs to look to get out there to try to spread this a little bit, not let OMiT Brooklyn influence spawns so easily, but the effort coming in, the push coming in, Johnny overwhelmed. It's going to be 3 for 1 in the feed. You take care of things for now. Still, Neptune on the outside looking in. You take a sigh of relief. Spawns are in the back, but you at least dealt with this wave.
KC Pioneers now able to take the lead away from OMiT Brooklyn if they can hold for just a few seconds longer. Again, you read these spawns perfectly. You got yourselves in a position where you can take these guys out, and there is that lead change that we were talking about. Rex sniffing out a player up top will remove Neptune from that power position. And here comes now a flip. OMiT Brooklyn going to get behind KC Pioneers. Flip right back here. Player in the backline fellow will be spawning up. There's a lot here that KC Pioneers have to read to try and maintain control of scrap time and maintain control of the rotation. They can do the former. They cannot do the latter. So now OMiT Brooklyn, they might have lost the lead, but it might only be for a moment as the reads are starting to come through. KC Pioneers, they look a bit straggly on this hit towards the rotation. For how long? Stanley gets a couple of kills. Neptune on the stairs needs to provide some value, and now KC Pioneers here, Cash, they're knocking at the door.
They've both taken the lead here for a moment as OMiT Brooklyn take it back, but it was 100 to 50. So now it was a 50 to 100 handshake of points as KC Pioneers have fought their way back into this one. OMiT Brooklyn going to be in time for the moment, as they're looking to, again, take advantage of how shaky the approach was for KC Pioneers. Trades go back and forth. Dylan Rex, what more can you find? Answer, nothing for now, but damage dealt. As they look to get into this hard point, Johnny going to be the one soaking time at 21 and 24. What can he do to help secure this for his team? And again, they didn't quite get close, if at all, to this hard point the last go around. Now they are here early. You start to see players get aggressive. You don't win the gunfight, though. So scrap time at least going to go your way. Maybe the early portion of this new hill, but you are not in a good spot to have reinforcements.
And this game is so close right now. Under Brooklyn and KC Pioneers going. Johnny, kills here. KC. KC Pioneers trying to advantage over OMiT Brooklyn. Kills being made. Dylan Rex will double up. KC Pioneers are actually getting a hell of a lot of time off the back of this hard point as they're really starting to pick things up towards the back half of this game. OMiT Brooklyn trying to keep them out. Trying to do so via mid-control. Mercules flies out towards the hard points and gets punished for it. And while Fellow may pick up a couple of kills, Fellow finds 3 on the flank here. Basically single-handedly keeps KC Pioneers away from the time, but it is only for a moment here as Stanley flies right back towards that hard point. Fellow's free piece there basically holds that time away from KC Pioneers.
Important to note, we're approaching 60 seconds left on the game clock. So, your KC Pioneers, really the team with the lead right now, is feeling all right because you can afford to step off of time and let a little more of that clock drain if you're not in a good spot to secure a substantial amount of time. Don't overextend to get this time. Put yourself in a spot to garner a little more, knowing that play clock is on your side. A 15-point lead here as they close in on the 200-point mark, but we'll keep an eye on that as this hard point goes on. A pinch play developing once again. It's Neptune on the flank. It's Neptune able to make a play here in just a few moments if he can find the timing. Arcides, oh my god, with the haymaker there, tries to swing, strikes out, and is able still to connect for the kill. So again, you're letting this time sit great, and that is fine if you are KC Pioneers. OMiT Brooklyn need to have that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, you're starting to get to the end game now, I think, between both of these two teams, right? So if you're KC Pioneers, you can get this time away. It is huge against OMiT Brooklyn. Can't really afford any mistakes if you're OMiT Brooklyn. Not, you'll be down in the lower bracket. KC Pioneers edging closer to a spot in the grand finals, top 2 in the very first cup of the 2025 first Challengers Cup of the season. OMiT Brooklyn, though, starting to take control of the kill feed here. Fellow looking for some mid-map control. Will get cut down. Nice read being made by Arcides. Mercury's now in the point. Has help from players coming off the spawn. Good information being made there towards him to pick up that 1 kill. But KC Pioneers still have presence around this point. Johnny, what can he get done? We'll find 1. Good kill also coming through from Arcides as well. KC Pioneers, they managed to jump in towards the point, and now you know what OMiT Brooklyn are going to be spawning.
Ironed forward, win these gunfights. You're 25 seconds away from winning. You're 40 seconds off the game clock. So, of course, they're going to try to soak up the rest of this time, close this out as quickly as possible. But again, that working to their advantage. It doesn't really matter. The kill feed goes their way for the moment. Standy having himself a pop-off moment here at the tail end of things. Every player with 30 or more kills, they are outslaying, they are outplaying, and they are taking care of business here on map number 4 with the rotation to new. Not that they can close this one out here, but they'll sure be close, Brody.
Yep, they sure will. KC Pioneers just a couple of points away. I don't even think if they jumped on the point, anybody from OMiT Brooklyn would actually be close enough. So KC Pioneers have actually given OMiT Brooklyn a chance to salvage this game. And with Fellow getting a couple of kills, Mercury is also finding 1. There is still more than a chance. There's a solid shake, but now a couple of players isolated towards this point. Arcides is trying to keep the reinforcements away from this hard point. OMiT Brooklyn, I mean, still somehow are holding on towards this Kane. KC Pioneers, all you need is 1 good break in towards the hard point. Is that going to be it? Yes, it will. KC Pioneers get it done in a dogged fight here in the hard point to close things out, and they will move on to the grand final.
And it's just that element of coolness that they have where, things got dicey. OMiT Brooklyn got out to a halfway decent lead. Like I said, it was 100-50 at one point, and then it went 150 to 150 where they tied things up, and then after that kind of just pushed themselves out to that lead that OMiT Brooklyn couldn't quite battle back from. It came close, and again, there were moments where they, different handshakes of parts of the maps, but everything that went wrong for KC Pioneers the first go around, you saw them correct the different turns, whether it was maybe taking a gunfight at a different angle or pushing through a lane with a teammate instead of solo this go around. There were just so many elements of it that you can see that they were talking as the game was going on and saying, all right, we need to do this differently. Okay, last time around, this happened, or hey, slow down this play. We don't need to fly through. And again, you can see that in the gameplay and how it evolved there. OMiT Brooklyn just broke down there towards the end. They couldn't quite get the looks that they wanted to. It was KC Pioneers having their way, and they closed the series out in a 3-1 fashion.
Alrighty, well, that's going to be it. KC Pioneers, they move forward towards the grand finals, the first of the 2 teams that will be participating in that matchup. Really excited to see who will join them. Before we send it to a break, let's show you guys the map set then for this best of 5. I think we could bring it up and show you guys what it currently looks like. At the end, we had to go to game number 4, but in the end, it is KC Pioneers that get it done. And, OMiT Brooklyn, they fought tooth and nail, really beyond the Vault control. I'd say it was an incredibly close series. So it is what it is. OMiT Brooklyn now going to have to fight for the lower bracket, but it won't be long before they get another bite at the cherry. Let's look at the bracket then to show you guys where we're currently at. I'm not too sure if it's updated, so We'll see whether or not we get surprised by an updated bracket or not. And it is, oh wow, what amazing production. We currently have, I believe that CTE have just won 3-1 over Scriminals, which is a wonderful team name, by the way, in the lower bracket semi-final. So they move on to the lower final, where now they will face OMiT Brooklyn for a chance at the grand final spot, Cash. And for OMiT Brooklyn, it would be revenge versus KC Pioneers.
It most definitely would be, and I think for CTE, it would kind of be a revenge tour through this lower bracket in the sense that, again, Hook has been playing so well. The squad has been performing lights out. You think the Prolu as well as someone who's kind of made waves for this team, so it would be a lower bracket revenge for them just to show that hey, we may have got bounced a little sooner than we would like, but we definitely are here for a mainstay and would like to get to that top two, if not grand finals victory. So I think this Omit Brooklyn and CTE match is going to be better than maybe some people would anticipate. Omit Brooklyn started strong against KC Pioneers, but again, I think Hook and Co are definitely going to give them a run here, as all of these teams are guaranteed top three. Someone though in losers finals is going to bow out of Challengers Cup 1, and again, Omit Brooklyn, they're hoping for a rematch. They're hoping for a date in grand finals with KC Pioneers once again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we are going to a lower bracket final very shortly, folks. Who's going to make it to that grand final alongside KC Pioneers? We've got those answers and more for you after a very quick break. On the other side, more Call of Duty challenges. Don't go far.